Have you ever had a perfectly fine day where nothing's wrong? Things are actually quite nice, and your brain is just bored, like it's scanning for something, restless and almost irritated that nothing dramatic is happening. So that's your ADHD brain rejecting contentment because it doesn't come with a dopamine hit. And what that means is that good moments, the quiet, ordinary, lovely ones, are literally bouncing off you. They're happening, but they're not landing. And in this video, I'm going to explain why that happens, what your nervous system has to do with it, and the one somatic shift that actually helps those moments stick. And it's not got nothing to do with gratitude journals. So hi, I'm Mercedes. If you've not met me before, I work in somatic healing and nervous system regulation. I've been a yoga teacher for years. I've been on my own personal development journey for 30 plus years. And I'm late diagnosed with ADHD and I'm living it, not just teaching it. So this is kind of like the things that I'm experiencing. So it's not theory, it's the things I've had to learn in my real life and the things that are actually missing. And that's what I'm going to share with you. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why contentment feels like boredom to your ADHD brain, why your nervous system state determines whether joy actually registers. And I'm going to give you a body-based practice that changes how you absorb good moments without forcing gratitude. So these are the 3 steps we're going to go through in this video. Number 1, why ADHD brains are wired to skip past the good stuff. 2, why your nervous system state changes whether joy lands or bounces. And 3, the difference between gratitude and actually feeling the good and how to do it somatically. So let's get started. So we'll talk about the ADHD wiring problem, because an ADHD brain is wired for novelty, for starting things, for the next hit. And that can play out everywhere. So like for me, I've got 45 business ideas all the time, and I might pick one and then I'll shift, and then I'm trying to do sort of too many things at once because my brain is always looking to start something new because it's exciting. And it also means like I can't say, so I've moved house. And this is actually true. And I've realised as I've got older, this is a real pattern from ADHD. I've moved house, I think, 8 times in the last 10 years through choice every single time. And that's because I find it really hard staying in one place because I need somewhere new to live. And that's, you know, a challenge that I work through on a regular basis because the mundane can feel restrictive. And I've had this throughout my whole life where things just feel like they're okay. Then I'm like looking like, well, like what now? Because is this it? Because my brain is always looking for that new thing to spark it. So the everyday good moments as well, this is the thing, the everyday good moments aren't new, they aren't exciting and they don't give you a buzz. So they can often get skipped over and we don't even realise that they're there. So like for me, and this can happen if you have ADHD or if you've experienced trauma or both, because your brain can do this kind of thing. So it looks for the highs and lows. So I actually did a philosophy course once on happiness and what happiness actually is. And it's a very wide definition. So for example, I can have really big highs when my football team scores a winning goal in the last minute of a game, because that can give me a real buzz. That's a form of happiness. And that's what I will be looking for in my everyday life, that buzz. And then I know that when that buzz comes, there'll be a dip. And when there's dips coming, I'm looking for the buzz. And where you live your life like that on a roller coaster. But there's another form of happiness, which is when things are content, things are just okay. And that can be a really tricky thing to live in with ADHD, because that contentment, that everything's just okay, can feel a bit like, well, what now? It's almost like it's boring. And so like, we're looking for that thing to excite us, to bring back the excitement and the buzz. And when something negative does happen, the brain goes, see, everything's falling apart. So it's almost like proof that we are on that path of highs and lows and dips, and something exciting might happen soon because we've just had something bad happen. And that's kind of like a real challenge. So the real work with it is learning to be happy with contentment, learning to see contentment as happiness and not the buzz as happiness, so that we get off that roller coaster. And then we can talk about how, I want to bring in the nervous system here, because you know, like I work on the nervous system, and I think this is really hugely linked to how we see things. So when you're regulated, contentment can feel joyful. And when you're dysregulated, contentment can feel like boredom. And with ADHD, you can often find yourself in a dysregulated state. And then we're looking for that highs and lows because we're looking to regulate and dysregulate. And actually, when we're dysregulated, highs can feel even higher. So it's the same moment, but we'll have a completely different experience depending on whether we're regulated or dysregulated. And the difference is your nervous system state, right? So when you're in, and I think this is really important. So when you're in fight or flight, you can experience like extreme joy. So the perfect example I can give of this is when I'm watching Arsenal play. Sometimes it's nice and easy, and those are quite relaxing games to watch. But actually, do you know what? When Arsenal score, when it's a really easy game, I'm just like, yeah, great. And it's not much of a buzz. But when I'm actually really activated, so I'm really in fight or flight, the game is really stressful, I'm on edge, my heart's racing, and I'm really, really activated, then when we score at the last minute, I get a huge buzz, and the high is even higher because I've been activated. And so I'm kind of like up in that up state, and it just pushes me up even more. But if you're in that activated state, then those everyday kind of like moments that are pleasurable, they don't really register. They kind of bounce off you because you're too agitated to take them in. You can take in the big moments, you can't take in the small moments. And so the system will need a big stimulus to break through. And when you're in the sort of dorsal shutdown phase, it can be even harder because someone can smile at you and it just doesn't land in your body because your body doesn't associate with it. So it's a bit like someone will smile at you and you might smile back and you'll smile with your mouth, but it won't reach your eyes because it's not really hit you inside. You might still get triggered into euphoria by a big event, but it still will be harder. And it's much harder. So the more shut down we are, the harder it is to actually even have the euphoric states. Now, when you're regulated, it's very different. So the quiet, peaceful moments can actually feel like joy. And because we can allow ourselves to actually feel them, and contentment registers as enough, mostly. You know, we still need to be aware of it. We still need to tune into it. And we still need to understand what's happening. But when we're regulated, this is when the good moments stick the most, those everyday good moments. So as always, as I teach, it's regulation first. So if you want to enjoy the day-to-day, regulate first. And now I just want to clarify something because this can really sound like, oh, this is a gratitude practice. We've just got to be grateful for the things we're experiencing. And this is really, really different. I want to teach you the difference between gratitude and somatic absorption. So we're going to somatically absorb a good moment rather than just be grateful for it. They are definitely not the same things. So with a gratitude practice, I actually really struggle with gratitude practices because you sit down and you do have this orchestrated moment of, oh, what am I grateful for, right? We sit down, we think, oh, I'm going to write out my gratitude list. And I will then just basically reel off things that, oh, I'm supposed to be grateful for this and I'm not doing, there's nothing somatic happening. And yes, we can do the gratitude practice somatically and that's the best way to do it, but we're not sitting and artificially trying to think of things to be grateful for. When we use somatic absorption and we take in the good, it's kind of very different. It's about feeling. So we don't sit around at some point and list the things from the day because then we've got to remember as well, like, can I remember all the things that I'm grateful for? And actually normally I get to the end of the day, I can't remember what I did. I mean, lucky if I can remember what I came into a room for, let alone what I did throughout the whole day and what I've got to be grateful for. So my brain just is like, I don't know, can't think of anything. But when we take in the good, it's about when something good is happening, allowing yourself to experience it in your body. And you don't need to label it as gratitude. You just need to feel it and feel that good feeling. So you can actually see this as a body-based practice. So, you know, when a good moment is happening, like your son smiles at you or your partner makes you a drink or you're mid-conversation with a friend and it feels lovely, just come into your body and notice, what does this feel like physically? Like, what does it actually feel like in my body? And allow the sensations to be there and allow yourself to take that in and to feel that and to absorb that and to notice that that's a good feeling. Because sometimes this is the thing as well, we don't know what a good feeling feels like because we're not tuning into our bodies. So we're having good experiences and we're feeling good, but we're not realizing that that's what's happening. So when it actually lands, it can feel, for me, right, this is the best way I can describe this. When it lands, it's like almost like warm treacle kind of like soothing through my body when you feel that lovely warm feeling and it just kind of goes all the way through. And then it kind of, to me, and this is, you will have very different sensations, but for me, it's like it pulls in my solar plexus chakra and I feel this like warmth radiating from there. And when it doesn't land, like I said earlier, it's like a smile that hits your mouth but doesn't reach your eyes. So it's not really, it's like, oh yeah, that's lovely, but it's not really registering in the body or in the mind. And when we register it in our mind, we allow it to register in our body. And I notice this a lot when I'm with my son because, and I think because he's been away for a week, I'm kind of been aware of these things and tuning into it and knowing that I don't take enough, don't take them in enough. So when he does lovely things and I'm around him and I might think, oh, that's lovely. And I'm distracted and I'm busy and I'm getting on with what I'm doing because there's lots of stuff going on. And afterwards I think, oh, I wish I'd spent a bit more time with him in that moment and allowed myself to really feel what it felt like to experience that with him. And if I tuned into my body at that moment, I would have felt more. So it's, and sometimes it's catching it afterwards. So when we catch that moment afterwards, we can then tune back into, oh, how did that feel in the moment? And we can tune back into that and we can start to absorb that good anyway. But it's just being aware of it and starting to tune in more and more when it actually happens. And there is a reason why we often push good moments away, especially as women. We're socialised to deflect, to please, to look after others, to suppress our own needs. And, we can brush compliments off because taking them in actually, like, it's really hard. It feels really hard because we're not used to getting that kind of like, oh, I'm not going to take in the good. I'm just going to, look after everybody else's needs, but I'm not going to take in all this good stuff. And so we're fueled by how we support others. So that's one way that you can switch it. So when someone is doing something nice for you or giving you a compliment or something good that you could take in, rather than deflecting it, think that actually by taking things in, so if someone pays you a compliment, saying thank you is like giving them a gift because they don't want to be rejected. So you're doing something good for them as well. And so you can kind of view it as service as well by taking something in and feeling it for yourself. So if this video has been helpful for you, if you're the person that allows good moments to slide past, I'd love for you to like and subscribe this video. And it really helps me to reach more people who need to hear this. And feel free to add a comment or ask a question and I'll always answer them. And if you want to go deeper into nervous system regulation, somatic healing and doing this work alongside others, I'd love to invite you to join my free group, the Somatic Reset Lab on School. The link is in the description and I'd love to see you in there.